Hello guys, this is Shaky Beeves and welcome to episode 20 of my road to a Katana Bleed build in Dark Souls 3. It's a really fun episode again this week. I love the latter half of Dark Souls 3, it's absolutely superb. Some of the earlier levels possibly leave me a bit underwhelmed, but all these stages now that we're on, the last few episodes really have just, I've really enjoyed it. Everything from kind of Erythral Boreal Valley. So Upper Lothric, which is the area we're in today, Upper Lothric Castle, is again one of my favourite areas in the game. I love it. It kind of harks back to Dark Souls 1. You've got all the enemies are kind of knights or kind of, you know, corrupted knights, all very powerful as well. There's lots of really powerful enemies and you have some great battles, and pulling off the parry kills on them as we see here is really satisfying. So Erythral Boreal Valley and Upper Lothric Castle, yeah, definitely some standout areas for me, as in my personal opinion. But yeah, you know, Undead Burg from Dark Souls 1, I just love that area, and this is almost like a kind of more you know, a future version of Undead Burg in that sense. You know, it's got just incredible art style, more colour and kind of more pizzazz in terms of the design. Look at those parries there, guys. So I'm using the Serpent Ring. I'm trying to build up my souls here, as you can see in the top left. So we've got to get as many level ups as we can at this stage. Obviously we've got some tough bosses coming up, so I'm using that because, you know, as I said, Lothric has got some really powerful enemies that with that ring will enable us to build up some level ups quicker. So yeah, you've already seen there's a lot of parrying in this episode. I really enjoy the sword parry with the Uchigatana. It's really satisfying. So yeah, I try and parry as many of these sorts of enemies as I can. What I do get is I get a few backstabs as well. For some reason I don't seem to be as good at backstabs, and actually they're arguably easier, but for me in Dark Souls 1 they felt easier. They were very automated. I seem to mess them up quite a lot in Dark Souls 3, but we do get some nice backstabs on some of these guys as well. I guess just to articulate how I approached this episode, as you saw there, we got 2 in a row of those really tough knights, got parry kills on them too, and then the third one got us. And that is the up and down nature of Souls, and what I wanted to do in this episode, and it is more towards the higher end in terms of length, I really want to show you the up and down and the roller coaster of my journey. Some of my episodes have been super slick in terms of editing, and they're like 14 minutes long, but I sometimes feel that lacks some of the kind of the roller coaster that is Souls. And what I mean by that is, you know, like you saw, you can parry kill 2 tough knights in a row, feel really confident, and then the rug gets pulled out from under you with a third, and that is Souls, and that's what makes the journey so compelling, and that's what keeps us coming back, is you never know what's round the corner, and no matter how many times you've played it, and no matter how confident you're feeling, you're carrying 40 souls, that's the moment you're going to trip up. And I think that's what brings us back as players again and again. The experience always feels fresh. So yeah, with this episode I tried to show you some of the failures more as well as the highlights. And what would be interesting is, if you are watching this series, and thank you if you are, you know, some comments on that. Do you prefer just to see the highlights, or my wins, really slick editing, job done, 13-14 minutes, or do you want to see some of that bumpy journey, which means the episode's probably more towards the 20-minute mark? But either way, that's what we've gone for this week. So this week I do stockpile some gold pine resin. The reason being is obviously with Nameless King, which is probably the boss I'm going to face next. With the first half of that battle where he's on the back of the Drake, he is susceptible to lightning at that stage, so I want to buff the Uchigatana with lightning for sure. So I'm going to start stocking up on gold pine resin. In the second half, I've said this again and again, he's susceptible to bleed, so we won't have to do anything there. Do level up a couple of times, which is good, and we also level up the weapons. So I get the Uchigatana to +9, so we just need Titanite Slab now to take the Uchigatana to +10. Which would be nice to do before Nameless King actually, so I might have a look and try and jog my memory as to where that slab is. It may actually be in the Nameless King area, I can't remember. But yeah, and we also bring up the Blood Warden Twin Blaze by another level 2. I think they're at 7 or 8 now. I think it's 8 actually they're at. So yeah, so that is it for me from a commentary perspective. Obviously what we've got at the end of this episode, of course, is Dragonslayer Armour, so do stick around right to the end of the episode and you'll see me fight Dragonslayer Armour. What a great fight. I forgot, it's, you know, hugely kind of anxiety inducing. He's really aggressive, he's really kind of ominous and threatening as a boss. He constantly hunts you down and is very, very aggressive, as I said. So a great boss. Took me a good few goes, and I didn't show you all those failures because at that point the episode was peaking in terms of length. But yeah, great boss, and I hope you enjoy that fight. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week for another episode where we will most likely fight the Nameless King. Take care.